get by. It resides between my eyes. Walk through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Aaron Conant of BWG Connect. Aaron, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. Since this is part of the top e-commerce series, we have to talk about James Thompson. James Thompson is actually how we met, and we did an episode. I don't remember, Aaron, did James, he's one of like this people who started the Amazon seller program or something like that. Is that right?
Yes. Well, I don't know about that. I talk to a lot of brands and I'm always asking them, hey, who are the influential people that are out there? And James Thompson came up so often that it was just a connection I ended up having to make. And just in those conversations, and you can bounce any idea off of James you want in the digital space, especially around Amazon. And then one of those actually was, he was mentioning, hey, you should do a podcast. And I was like, I have no idea how to do a podcast. And he's like, I have exactly the people that you need to talk to. And that's, I think, how we originally got connected, right? Because then we met up. Do you remember IRCE? You had set up in that booth, right? In the middle of it.
We did a full podcast for the conference and everything. And yeah, so James, he also started Prosper Show. They had a successful agency. Joe Hansen, also his partner in Prosper Show. And you probably know Eitan Wiener and Chad Rubin. All they kind of started. Yeah. They're all in the e-commerce space and started Prosper way back when, which then ended up selling to a publicly traded company, actually.
Yeah. I just got a note the other day. I think Matt Snyder, I don't know if you know, he's at Brands Excel. He's a cool Amazon agency. I think he's he just sent me a call for speakers. So it's crazy how far that show has come. It's awesome though.
So check that episode out with James. We geek out on e-commerce, and we're going to get into some of the fun. I mean, Aaron is, I don't know, one of the most connected people in e-commerce with all of the brands and companies that he chats with. I don't know. I think I look somewhere you chat like 30 to 40 a week or something. And we've had some interesting ones on. I've used some ones in the past. So I want to hear what some of Aaron's favorite, it's like your favorite kids. It depends on the day, but some of the favorite tools out there. I had Jay Lagarde on, who started Ecom Engine. I've used his for, Feedback 5 for emails and things like that. But check those out on InspiredInsider.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise25. At Rise25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships, partnerships. How do we do that? We do that by helping you run your podcast. Right? We are an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. And that's what Aaron was talking about. And James is like, you want to start this? Don't worry. You just have the conversations, build relationships, create amazing content, and run your business, and let us do everything else. For me, Aaron, the number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships. And I have found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. I'm super excited to introduce Aaron Conant. He's co-founder and chief digital strategist at BWG Connect. They're a network and knowledge sharing community of digital executives who collectively learn from each other via these one-on-one conversations, webinars, in-person events across the country. I think between now and the end of the year, they have over 30 events planned, which is incredible. You can check that out. If you go to bwgstrategy.com, there's a, in the navigation, BWG Connect button, or you can go right to /BWG-events, and you can see what they have coming up. And they're actually free. So check them out. They're advising over 200 brands each year on digital strategy and moderating over 100 events. So he really has a bird's eye view, and you look at it, of the newest trends, strategies, pain points, and also the partners that are shaping the growth across the whole digital and retail landscape. So, Aaron, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, for sure, my friend. It's going to be fun. I can't wait for the conversation. And just the quick note, I had the intro around Rise 25, and the ability to put out a podcast is that easy, everybody. It's literally, they make it that easy. They're all around great people, fantastic to work with, and it's as easy as you recording a Zoom meeting with somebody and shooting it over to them. So anyways, thanks, Jeremy.
Appreciate that.
Help. Yeah.
It means a lot coming from
It's awesome.
you. So just start off and just talk a little bit about BWG Connect and what you do. I gave a brief overview, but give us a little bit more detail.
Yeah, I'll give you I'll start with the background. Is I was on the brand side in corporate America. This is, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, really getting everything off the ground from Amazon, direct to consumer, B2B. Looking at, we acquired a company in the EU, Mega Pharma, helping those teams out, understand Amazon EU, a little bit of time in China with Tmall Global. And what I quickly found is that the teams are so small and there's such a limited knowledge base within companies as a whole. I was struggling to find people to talk to. Of course, we go to IRCE, now I think it's RICE. You go to the shop talks, you go to Prosper, you could get a lot of sales pitches. And I didn't want those. I had already, kind of stubbed my toe on an integrator web dev team. I was trying to find an Amazon agency. I wanted to talk to brands. I wanted to have those conversations. Who's working for you and who's not? Are there pain points? Are there things I should be thinking about that I haven't even thought about yet that you have, and maybe you stubbed your toe and you could help me out. So I ran into a guy, Bill Williams, that's the BW and the BWG. He already had a massive group that was doing primary research for buy side of the market, financial institutions. And one of the sectors he was covering was e-commerce. And so I happened to meet in some of those groups, these different brands. And I pitched him a crazy idea that, hey, how about we take a subset of these brands that they're talking and give them the opportunity to intermingle for free whenever they wanted on whatever topics they wanted. And then from that, we could end up, finding out, hey, who's the best at anything? Who's the best Amazon agency? Who's the best web dev team? Who's the best at paid search and social? And we could use them as sponsors for different events where there's no sales pitches, there's no presentations, and it's just this opportunity to ask the smartest people selected by the group of brands. And that was kicked off 7 years ago. He said, quit your job, let's do it. And so I did. That was, July of 2017. And here we are 7 years later. So I still spend the majority of my time. I try to talk to 20 to 30 brands a week, up every vertical of every size. There are no restrictions around, hey, what are your biggest pain points? What are you solving for? And then who's helping you do it? And what we have is the most relevant topics with the best possible service providers around. Again, I'm not vetting them out. The thousands of brands in the network are vetting them out. And we'll do about 100 dinners this year across the US. A lot of them at big upcoming shows, the Shop Talks or the E-Tails or the Prospers. But we'll also do a couple hundred webinars. So again, 100% free to brands. And they get as many connections as they want. So that's it's kind of long-winded, but
no, we're looking, if you're listening to the audio version, you can see we are on you can see bwgstrategy.com/bwg-events, and you can see all the upcoming events. So if you're in e-commerce and you're going to one of these shows, or you want to check out their webinars, you can go on this page and you can see what's going on. And you can see all events are free for industry professionals, no sales pitches. Talk about the business model a little bit.
Yeah, so the business model is we primarily monetize events as a whole. So anybody that is a sponsor comes vetted out from the brands in the network. We get pinged all the time by the small little startups that just want to get in front of people. And the reality is we can't we can't do any of these events unless you've been vetted out by the network. And by the network, I'm not talking about like me or my team. It's literally by the brands. Again, that's everybody from startup, Fortune 100, up every vertical: food, fashion, CPG, whatever, beauty. And so what we're able to do then is really hone in on, hey, who's the best for Walmart PDP excellence? Now, there might be 5 best people out there, right? This one that's upcoming, Walmart PDP, that's later on today, actually is the 10th today, is with Cellcord, Michael Leber and his team. I got connected with him, through brands, but also
I know Michael. Yep.
Yeah, Michael? Yeah.
Yep.
And I got connected with him from David Katz, who's at Arch Affiliates, who was on the brand side and now has launched his own affiliate program specifically for a third party on Amazon. And so, yeah, that's, Michael, I'll be chatting with him for an hour later on today. These are like the cool things that pop up, right? Is asking brands like, what's bothering you? Like, hey, we need an alternative to Amazon. Like, but Walmart can't quite figure it out. Well, if you talk to like Michael, he's like, yeah, lots of brands.
Michael's a smart dude. When I met him, I think he was really young, running a really successful Amazon brand itself. So
yeah,
he knows his stuff.
Yeah, if you talk to him about Walmart, he's like, hey, everybody spends all their time, effort, money, fine-tuning everything for an Amazon strategy. And then when they get to Walmart, they grab all that and they dump it on Walmart. And it doesn't work. And so he's like, spend as much time, effort, money that you're doing on Amazon, on Walmart, you'll get a lot better results. So it's cool stuff like that we're trying to tackle and help brands out with.
You did an actual, Aaron, a really good podcast episode actually with David Katz, which I listened to, about affiliates. You can see here, obviously they have a podcast. You should check it out, the Digital Deep Dive with Aaron Conant. You could find that also right through here in the Digital Deep Dive area where it says BWG Connect. Talk about, it was really kind of an, low-hanging fruit market as far as affiliates go.
Yeah, I mean, in this case with David, he came from the brand side, and there's affiliate networks everywhere. We're seeing a real drop off in the influencer side, where, hey, I'm going to pay you 20 grand up front, and you're going to talk about my product, and hopefully I get sales. And oh, by the way, tomorrow you're going to take 20 grand from my competitor and talk about them. Profitability and accountability around dollars is really important. And affiliates, it's pay upon conversion. It's performance based. And so a lot of brands have been turning to affiliate marketing. What he set up, and everybody, if you're a brand and you're selling on Amazon, especially if you're on the third party side, you should check it out. It's Archer Affiliates. He's partnered with publishers. It's 100% free platform for brands. He's partnered with publishers who then they get the brand referral bonus from Amazon if you're on the third party side. So instead of you coming out and saying, hey, I need to give a publisher 25% referral fee, they're grabbing 15 from Amazon and they're grabbing 10 from you. So it's actually a discounted referral fee. Like he just had a post on LinkedIn. He's like, people just don't understand why it's free. And that's why they're not signing up. He's like, it's crazy. There's no reason if you're on a third party and you're selling on Amazon not to use this program. There's just not.
That's why I wanted to talk about the business model, because it almost like seems too good to be true, but it makes sense because the events are free for industry professionals. There's no sales pitches. And then it's cool because, the people who maybe are sponsoring or want to get in front of these people are still vetted from the network. So they're proven that it's not just they can write a big check. It's these people are vetted from the other people in the industry to say, no, we, put our stamp of approval. We've used these people and they're good. And so I can see that, if people can sponsor, it's really those, companies that want to get in front of these industry professionals.
Yeah, that's exactly. We put a cap on events every year and we just hold that inventory where it's at. I think we could do 150 dinners, but why? A lot of it is I've got 4 kids at home, right? So I like my wife and kids. I like living in my house. So
you're doing a lot as it is, for sure. What's been some of the fan favorite? You do a lot of webinars. What's been some of the fan favorite webinars over the past year or 2 years?
So a couple, if we jump into it, a lot of it is around Amazon. So if we'll tackle that one first, Amazon Marketing Cloud, people are trying to understand that. That's been around for, 5 years actually, but there haven't been the tools unless you have a fleet of data scientists that can go write a bunch of Amazon-based SQL queries and yank it out. It's been really hard to use. But we've done a bunch on Amazon Marketing Cloud. There's a company called Xmars that's really popping up quickly right now. They're a simple plugin, right? Couple grand a month, you plug it into your instance and you get all the data, path to purchase and everything. So a lot of people are using that because they're then crafting it. You can put a pixel on your direct to consumer site, pull in your purest customer, and then just do a segmentation match into Amazon shoppers and then retarget. Using their DSP, you can actually drive it back to your direct to consumer site. So a lot of focus around that. How do I spend my marketing dollars more wisely? There's a great podcast with retail media. I think it was just before David Katz with Nate Pinkston and from Microsoft Retail Media, and Lauren Levac from the Digital Shelf Institute. That is fantastic. We were talking a lot about, the joint business planning that goes on. The one that comes out this week is with Andrea Lay from the Loom Group. And then I'm recording another one with her next week, which is Amazon AVNs. So she actually built out the negotiating platform within Amazon for the 1P side. So we're going to do a deep dive with her on, hey, what should brands be thinking about? But that's it. We're at the time of year where AVNs are top of mind, retail media and justification around dollars, and then, Xmars, Amazon Marketing Cloud. So cool stuff.
Love
cool
it.
Stuff.
What are you seeing? So you talked a little bit about the pain points that people are experiencing. One, you were mentioning the profitability side. What are some of the pain points you're seeing with all these conversations?
Profitability is the number one concern across brands today. That's on the 1P side, the 3P side of Amazon. It's on the Walmart marketplace. It's on direct to consumer. It's around retail as a whole. There's the time, right? Is the pandemic, I'd say a year, maybe we're talking March 2021, right? So still in the pandemic, starting to round off by the end of that year. And there is this growth at all cost, and people were just dumping tons of cash into paid media. People were not going to the store. They were buying online. And I think a lot of people thought that trajectory was going to continue, that society had fundamentally changed and now wanted to shop exclusively online. And that wasn't the case at all. And so what we're seeing now is, the shipping rates haven't really come down. There are more people advertising online, so cost for advertising, CPCs have gone up, and people are looking to have an intense look at their direct-to-consumer site. How much does it cost to ship? What do my bundles look like? What is the cost of operation? What is that total cost of ownership of that direct-to-consumer site? And is it even profitable? And is it worth having up? I believe it is. Even if you're not making money on it, it can be an R&D arm for understanding your customer. But and that profitability piece is driving then how are we doing it? Advertising. How are we doing? Shipping. How are we looking at 3PLs and warehousing? How are we looking at product bundles? New product development. A lot of those things are being driven by this profitability concern. So
you talk to so many people, Aaron. I'm curious on missed opportunities that you see for people, like low-hanging fruit. You mentioned one with the affiliates. You're like, why is everyone not doing affiliates? And maybe it's like missed opportunities. People are just focused on Amazon. They're not going to Walmart. What are some of the missed opportunities that you're seeing with all these conversations that more of these sellers should be doing?
I would say, well, I'll put a caveat on there, which is there's been a huge trimming of digital executives across businesses right now. I think they overstaffed a little bit coming out of the pandemic, and then as cuts have been made, it's been a little too deep. I think that's going to rebound after budgets are set and approved next year. So what does that mean? They're missing opportunities, but I don't believe it's their fault. They're working 50, 60 hours a week trying to keep the business going and hit numbers. And so what they don't have is that opportunity to spend looking, and they're inundated with AI and machine learning, right? It's crazy. So if I would say one thing, I would, when people think AI, they predominantly think generative AI. What's the copy? Can it produce an image for me? And I would say set that aside, because that's going to be a gigantic time suck. Doesn't mean it can't work, but it's going to be a gigantic time suck when there's new tools that are popping up that are AI driven, machine learning driven, that are incredibly cheap. And that's how, we've entered this age where all these tech and service providers used to say it was AI and machine learning, and it was, $15,000 a month. And that was really, hey, put in all your data. They throw it overseas overnight. There's hands-on keyboards. It comes back in the morning. There's an answer. People didn't care that that's what was happening. They had the money to pay for it. Now they don't. And now we've seen the cost of these things significantly come down. I'll give you a quick example. Orita, O-R-I-T-A. Orita is a plugin for Klaviyo. So people have massive email lists. Most of it is falling on deaf ears. So this AI tool goes in and it analyzes how all the groups are interacting, segments them, puts in holding patterns, those that aren't likely to interact because they only buy in Mother's Day every year, or they only buy just before the holidays. It can pull them back in at the right time and pull them back out. Well, you send out significantly fewer emails, but more targeted emails, right? So you save money on your email sends. Your unsubscribes go down. Your clicks to spam go down. Your deliverability goes through the roof. But it's like $1,000 a month, maybe $1,500. I don't know. Like, you save more in your reduced Klaviyo cost than you're spending on this tech platform, and your customers are happier and Google loves you. Like, there's cool stuff like that. And I would say, be looking for those things and for that price point that's somewhere between $500 and $2,000, because there's a lot of it. And those tools a year ago were $8,000 to $15,000 a month. There's a super simple one, cartsave.io. You just plug it in. And if people abandon, it's not part of Klaviyo. If people abandon their cart, it gives them a simple message. Hey, would you like us to save your cart? Just give us your email address. That's all it does. And it reminds them the next day, hey, you left something in the cart. They take, I think, 5%. So it's basically a referral program then on what gets converted. If there's no cost to the platform, why not plug it in? You make more money.
That's awesome.
These are the little things that are popping up now that, people just don't have the time to go research because they're busy, blocking and tackling the main things that are out there. So
any other best kept, I guess I categorize this as best kept secrets. You talked about Orita, CartSave, XMars, Archer, Cellcord. Any others that come to mind that you're like, how are not more people using this?
There's probably 50. I don't know if we have time to go through them all, but there's probably
just a few. Obviously to discover more, they can go on, check out your events and podcasts.
Yeah. And a lot of these, I don't have time to do it with. There's a really cool company that's big in Europe. It's on the 1P side for Amazon for account recovery. It's called Baros, Baros. They're just a flat fee. So a lot of these recovery tools want to take 15, 20, 25%. They take care of almost everything, and they're just a flat fee. They do some really cool stuff. There's a cool company that you have to be doing a larger amount of like streaming TV, but like Neon Pixel and Brooke Partillo and what she's building over there. If you're doing a significant amount in streaming TV, which is going to take off through the Amazon DSP, you can buy inventory on Disney Plus. You're gonna be able to buy inventory at some point in time, probably on Netflix, Hulu. Like you're gonna be able to go anywhere and buy this inventory. So that's a really cool one. I'm trying to think. I've got a whole table here of like little sticky notes. It is Spencer Millerberg. He created was it One Click Retail back in the day, sold it to Essential. And now he's built Detail Page. If you're trying to understand market share on Amazon, but you don't want to pay through the nose for a stack line, he's more accurate at a quarter of the cost. So those are some of the cool things where you're like the AI portion and what it's able to crunch is super impactful. And you can save tons of money and get the same, if not better results. So I'm excited. If you can't tell, for like the next 2 years.
I could probably sit and listen to all 50. I won't make you list them off, but
I'll just be going through my sticky notes here. I mean, I don't ever mind. Like I share with everybody. Like these are all our partners. These are all people who brands are promoting. They're saying, hey, these guys are cool and fun. And that's a lot of it is, Bill had this from Bill Williams, the BW and the BWG. Do business with people you like and love. And that's what we try to do. So, yeah.
I want to dig into, you really started as a chemist. So I want to go back. I don't want to gloss over that part because when you were doing these launches and putting these products out there, we're talking like multi-million dollar launches, right? So talk about how you went from chemist to then e-commerce.
Yeah, so I love chemistry. I was really good at math. It's one of those things where I'll start at the way beginning, right? Like, I love my high school chemistry teacher. And then I went to school, to college to be a chemist. And then I got a double major in chemistry and biochemistry, and it was so much fun. And then I actually got to everyday work where I'm at the back of the lab. I was making drugs for phase 1 and 2 clinical trials for Alzheimer's, schizophrenia. It's just me at the back of the lab, and I love people. I was dying a little bit every day.
That's why I'm actually shocked about this because I was a biochemistry major as well, and I couldn't imagine when I was looking at what to do. And you are very social, very people person. I was like, I do not want to be stuck in a lab. But you ended up going that route.
Yeah, just in college, I got hooked up with an awesome professor, world renowned. He was on Journal Organic Chemistry Advisory Board. Like he was editing the papers, JACS, all the huge articles. His name was Dr. Leroy B. Townsend. He was awesome. He ran a cool lab. I mean, there was like 6 of us in there just having a blast every day. It's not what happens in corporate America. Maybe at some of the smaller shops, but not at a pharmacy or a Pfizer. So I got out, I got my MBA, I went to Perrigo, and then I became a project manager and had these crazy projects that I kept taking. And then one of them was to launch a direct to consumer site. And then what I found was there wasn't as much traffic there. I mean, now the traffic was Amazon, so launched Amazon. And then we got, a bunch, like 9 number 1 bestsellers. And what I found was e-commerce is a giant experiment. It's one big experiment. Nobody knows the outcome. Nobody knows where it's going. Nobody's been where we're going next month. And so that aligned really closely with the scientific method. And so while people were out there like trying to randomly, try stuff and they had marketing and all this other stuff, I just let the data be a guide. And I wasn't just throwing stuff up against a wall. I was picking a wall and picking what I want to throw up against it, and then analyzing what stuck, and then refining over and over and over again. And yeah, you don't win them all, but every time the experiment, quote unquote, experiment failed, I learned something. I made an adjustment to a variable, and I took that approach to e-commerce is, hey, how many experiments can I do as quickly as possible, the most meaningful ones. So I don't know how many people, would take a face-centered design of experiments
9 number one
application.
bestsellers is pretty incredible. What type of products were they, just to give people an idea?
They were all OTC, so over-the-counter pharmaceuticals. The brand was Good Sense. We were just launching Basic Care as I was leaving to go start this up. And so, yeah, that was our in-house brand. That was predominantly through smaller mom and pop pharmacies. And yeah, had to cold call Amazon way back in the day. And fortunately, the vendor manager at that time had previously worked at Cardinal Health, which was one of our big partners and distributors. And he
That's huge,
instantly knew, we need this. We have a solid brand. It's direct from the manufacturer. They own it. This isn't a third party reselling. And we were off to the races, and it was a blast. It was fun.
What made you finally take the leap then? Because again, seems like a great company, great position. You're doing cool things. You're launching products. You're getting number one. What caused you to take the leap?
I think this will ring the most true for all like the third party sellers that have your own brand out there is, at the end of the day, I built an 8-figure business and I got none of the profits. I still got my salary. I still got my bonus. And we were on our way like to 9 figures. And I wouldn't see any of it, right? It's that entrepreneurial, like, I'm doing all this work. I know how to do it. The other side is, I love people and I wasn't getting enough people exposure. My passion is people and helping people out. And I really like e-commerce. So I built a business around that. And I would say for the entrepreneurs that are out there, build a business around something you love, because then you don't mind doing it every day. This is a big hobby for me, right? Like, this is my passion, right? People are my addiction, like helping people out. And so when you get into that sweet spot,
It's pretty
9 times out of
amazing,
10.
thinking back, your journey and as a chemist then and what you're doing now. And the same thing for me, so I can relate. What are some of the, you talked about some really cool software and in companies, resources. What are some of your favorite conferences? I know we talked about, Prosper Show, Shop Talk, E-Tail. What are some of your other favorite industry conferences?
So I'm going to put a couple caveats on there. What I find difficult with some of these conferences is the amount, once they get acquired, there's a huge focus on, generating revenue. And that is tough because it changes the whole feel of the conference. I do really like Shop Talk. Why? Because I like people. It's a giant e-commerce family reunion. I think they even used that their first year back after COVID. E-commerce's family reunion. I would say the same thing goes for Prosper. Before it was acquired, just, people there, nitty gritty, getting into the weeds on stuff. I still like Prosper. I E-Tail West. I was at E-Tail East. We did a couple dinners there. Was just a ton of AI talk. I didn't get as much out of it. But I mean, good stuff, right? I mean, anytime people together and talk e-commerce, you cross-pollinate minds. That's awesome. Let's see. I really like the Amazon Accelerate. They're unboxed. Again, giant networking, but you usually can run into a bunch of other brands there and you can learn a bunch. Who else is out there? Oh, The Lead. They do a big, really cool conference every year. Moderated a panel there this year. I really like that. It's in New York. The Commerce Next guys, they do some cool stuff. The So I think they do some dinners too. Sometimes people are like, "Hey, are they your competition?" I don't view them that way. Like, there's enough capacity for 1,000 dinners every year. So, anybody who's helped educating people in the digital space, I really like. So they do some cool stuff. I think in the East and West Coast every year. Yeah, those are the one that's, I don't know. I'm from Michigan, really close to Chicago. IRCE back in the day with Scott Wingo did his Amazon and Me Day. That was awesome. It was really, really small this year. I don't know how much longer it'll be around, but yeah, those are.
Are there any industry specific ones that you like? Because I know, like, obviously you're close to Chicago, me too. McCormick Place has a lot of events. Like they'll just, maybe it's outside specific e-commerce, like you get like the Pack Expo or some of these other big ones. Any other industry ones that you like?
I like the International Housewares Association. They have a show there every year. I do a bunch of advising for the IHA. That one's really cool. Yeah, Pack Expo is awesome. Part of my project management career, I was on the packaging side and redoing components, and to go to Pack Expo, that is phenomenal. That's a really, really cool show. Yeah. Other than that, I don't make it to a ton, so I don't know if I can comment on them. Just
Yep.
There's enough other times to be on the road. But yeah, I do like McCormick Place. That's cool. Yeah. Shop Talk Chicago is this year too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are they doing multiple events? Because I know the one
Yeah.
I went to was in Vegas. So they do one in Vegas and one
So
in
Shop Talk, yeah, in the spring is going to be Vegas still. Shop Talk fall is going to be at McCormick Place. The end of October, I think, or the second week of October. The same week though is Unboxed in Austin. I think at the beginning of the week it's Unboxed in Austin. End of the week it's Shop Talk in Chicago. Shop Talk.
Aaron, where can people, so let's say, there's someone listening to this, so like, I want to go to one of your events. They're an industry professional, or I want to check out your webinars. How do they register for one of the dinners or get a hold of you as far as, I mean, we showed the bwgstrategy.com/bwg-events so they can check out any upcoming webinars. How do they get a hold of you and the team if they want to attend one of these in-person dinners?
You can just email me, Aaron, Aaron at bwgconnect.com. That's a great way. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. I can connect you with, our events planner. There are limited seats, obviously. The dinners we do are all bespoke. They're all invite only because it has to be very, very topical. If it's Amazon, we'd like Amazon people there. If it's direct to consumer, if it's SEO, if it's marketplace, we do so many, we like them to be very, very targeted. But what I would say to that is, hey, if we can't have you into one dinner because it's full, there's another 99. It's a good chance. I'd say about 40 of those we do in New York every year. And so if you're in that area, it's usually pretty easy. The other ones were outside of trade shows. We do a lot of those. Of all the ones I just mentioned, we have a dinner or two that are just networking. Again, our dinners, there's a cocktail hour, 6 to 7. There's a plated service dinner usually at a steakhouse from 7 to 8:30, and 8:30 we wrap it up, grab another cocktail, but everybody could be home by 9 if they wanted to. But it's a guided conversation, single table guided conversation for an hour and a half. And I mean, yeah, they can just email me and we'll get them signed up. I mean, there's a good chance I'll just want to chat with you. I love to network and learn from people. I do a lot of help with partner selection. If it's a brand out there and you're looking for an Amazon agency or a Walmart agency, or you need new tech providers, I spend a lot of time with brands because, the same agency that's great for, a Roku is a different one than it is for, rebellious beverage, right? They're two different things. And so I help a lot with that as well.
Talk about the format a little bit from the guided conversation. People, obviously, no one knows each other. Obviously you're really good at engaging people, warm, getting people in. How do you run the dinner and the guided conversation?
Yeah, so there's a topic, right? So we're really clear with everybody around what the topic is. And so then we do a brief intro. I mean, there's a sponsor, right? They paid. So usually kick it over, let them have a minute or so. Hey, this is who we are, this is what we do. Super excited to be here. And just happy to answer any questions that might come up, but we're here to learn. That's usually how they handle it. And then we buzz around the table, name, role, company. Hey, here's the topic. What's one thing you want to get answered? And so by the time you buzz around the table, comes back, man, you got a list. And let's go. Let's start tackling. We got a bunch of questions to get answered here. And then that's where a good moderator comes in, where they deeply understand the conversation. They can pull on threads. They can pull out questions. They can get people engaged who might not want to be engaged. But they have a question. Maybe you were talking with them beforehand. And then in all reality, an hour and a half goes by like that. And then
I love that because people, you learn a lot of different pain points, and people can share and help each other if people are sharing what's the one thing you want to get answered. And obviously industry professionals who are there can help each other as well.
the number one thing, like I tell everyone, so we connect everybody afterwards. I'm always like, these are the people that are near you, because we're doing it in a city, right? Like they're here, like meet them for coffee, build your own network, get your own personal board of advisors that can help you out in this space. So you can meet them for coffee anytime, grab a lunch, give them a phone call. My POs didn't come through, right? I just got, warehouse space shrunk down. I don't have a 3PL anymore. That you can call people really quick and get answers. And that's, you nailed it. Like you're learning from your peers. Oh, by the way, when things get stuck, we have the smartest people, service providers around in this area that they can jump in and answer as well. So
are there some recommended partner 3PLs to mention?
There's a bunch. I can give you my favorite. It is Corey Aperian at Da Vinci Micro Fulfillment. He's based out of New Jersey, multiple warehouses across the country. So forward deployed inventory, seller fulfilled prime, certified. So same day, 1 day, 2 day across the US. Working with some really cool brands. The coolest thing is a flat fee for ins, outs, picking, packing, kitting, bundling. It's a flat fee. And that's what brands want, because in the 3PL space, is you're trying to, every time they touch it, it's going to be extra money. People just want a flat fee that can put in a different line item, right? Column on the budget, say, okay, this is how much our warehousing costs are. And then he takes a percentage on flow through. And so you can get very, very precise in how much it's going to cost you. There's no craziness. And I don't, the only reasons there's not more is because that industry is very old and very cemented into their ways of how they charge. And Corey is crushing it. He hit any marketplace. You can create whatever you bundle. You don't even have to bundle it. You just send it to him and say, hey, we're selling this bundle on Amazon. When it comes through, this is what you pick and put in the box. So it's creating your own bundling, dropping inserts. And again, it's seller fulfilled prime. If you have warehousing constrictions, if you're one piece side and you don't want it locked up in there, that's just awesome. He's doing some really cool stuff. There's other big players that are out there that are doing cool stuff too. I like the new, like I consider Corey a digital age 3PL. That's what he is. So
I have one last question, Aaron, and before I ask it, it's going to be, I'd love to hear your mentors in the space. It could be colleagues, mentors, some of your favorite people that just you've learned from throughout the years. But before you answer that, I want to just point people, if you heard any cool resources on this and you contact this company, just tell them that you heard about them through Aaron in BWG Connect, because we want to spread the word on more cool companies. And you can check out bwgstrategy.com/BWG-events, or just go to the BWG Connect in the navigation to check out more when their webinars are, when their in-person events are. in anything they have going on. And of course, check out the podcast. He's great people on there. You could check that out. Okay. It's the Digital Deep Dive with Aaron Conant. Aaron, who are some of your mentors that you learned from throughout the years?
We covered one, James Thompson. Guy's phenomenal. And just an all-around great person. Who else? Lou Alimo from he's at Pim Brands. So they make Welch's fruit snacks. He's just a digital leader as a whole. Oh, Todd Hassenfeld. He's over at Colgate Palmolive. Man, just absolutely phenomenal. Matt Tarallo, he was at Coke, then he was at RJ Reynolds. Now he's got a bunch of his own brands. That guy just bouncing ideas. John Giorso, so he built Orca Pacific and sold that to Media Monks. Wow. I don't know if I have enough. I've got about 50 people. Megan Caroon, when it comes to measuring retail media. Corey, when it comes to Perian, when it comes to fulfillment, because a lot of these are very segmented, right? Of where these people pop up. If you're talking about user-generated content and connectivity, Tom Logan over at Coley is doing some really, really, really cool stuff. George Westcott, he's at A Ventures Global. He's building one of the most innovative Amazon platforms. He built the first ever Amazon agency. He founded the Amazon Vendor Central group in LinkedIn. So he's the moderator of that platform. Man, I could go on. I think I could go on all day. And these are the top people that I ping and like to interact with. Lauren Levac at the Digital Shelf Institute. Bill Williams, right? The co-founder in this whole thing here.
Any specific advice from Bill that we could end it on?
Yeah, just going back, do business with people you like and love. That's it, man. That makes life fulfilling, and sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes there's a big check sitting there. People are a pain in the butt to deal with and they're never satisfied, and you just got to walk away from it. And we're all blessed, and so just don't be led by the dollar. It's not worth it. Do business with people you like and love. So
love it. Aaron, I want to be the first one to thank you. Check out BWG Connect. Check out more episodes of the podcast. We'll see everyone next time. And thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. It's been so much fun. Alrighty.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.